All right. Well, welcome to the Cory Lee Leadership and Fitness Podcast, where today I've got a special guest with me, somebody that I really look up to and that I really admire. But in this podcast, our whole goal and the purpose is to help encourage you, motivate you to get moving and to stay moving. And what that means to me is I want you to take action, but find something that you like and be disciplined and consistent with that action. So get moving and to stay moving. So once again, I've got somebody that I really look up to. I've known him from afar and kind of gotten to know him a little bit more here recently. But why I respect you so much, Tracy, and I'll introduce you here in a second. But I see you from afar in two leadership aspects that I really respect. You've got your family. You've got 3 young adults now. They're no longer kids, but to raise them, and they are so well respected and well mannered in the community. People in the community respect them, and they are making a positive impact on the people that they come in contact with. And I think that just speaks to you and your wife and how you have led your household. And I respect you so much from that. But you also serve as a pastor at a local church, and being in a small community where we are, everybody seems to know everybody in their business, and everything that I hear is just so awesome about what you guys are doing and how you are leading there, and your team. You guys as a team are leading there. So just watching you from afar, I've gained a lot of respect for you. So today I'm very pleased to have with me Mr. Tracy McMillen. So Mr. Tracy, thank you for being here, man.
Thank you. Honor to even be asked to be a part of this. So yeah. Looking forward to it.
Well, thank you for taking your time, man. And so you are a CrossFitter. You do some CrossFit, and I know you've been around exercise and fitness for a while. You've actually helped coach some of the football team here. So what I guess for you, people come to health and fitness for different end goals or reasons why. I guess, what are you hoping to accomplish out of living a healthy and active lifestyle?
I think, honestly, for me, it's kind of changed over the years. I know when I got started, when I was 17 or 18, I was real skinny. And just to be perfectly honest, it got picked on a lot and this or that. And so just had that mindset of, I just want to get bigger and, stronger and this or that. Did not take long for that to change, for my mindset of enjoying it and getting into it. But I'm at a point now, 49 now, turned 50 in March. Right.
Prime time.
And so I want to be, honestly, by the time I turn 50, in some of the best shape I've ever been in, so that I can enjoy life. I've noticed as I've gotten older, it's harder to bend down and pick something up off the ground. And it's easy to get in the mindset of, I'm just not going to work out today, or I'm just going to lay back and take it easy. And I've seen a lot of people, when they get to that point, their health go away. And so you talked about my 3 kids. One of them's married, the other one's engaged to be married, and the other one will be soon, I'm sure. I do. I want to be able to enjoy my grandkids. I want to be able to play with them the same way that I did my own kids when they were younger. And so that's just kind of where I'm at and what I'm looking forward to.
I mean, I think that's great. It's health and fitness is all about being functional, especially what we do at CrossFit. It's about translating that into our everyday life, and I think that's great. And, everybody has their own preferred method of exercise. What I tell people is, when people ask me, what should I do? I say, well, have you tried running? Well, I hate running. Well, have you tried CrossFit? Well, I'm scared of CrossFit. Well, my advice to them is to find something that you enjoy to do and to stick with that. If you like badminton, go outside and hit that birdie around for 30 minutes a day, right? So finding something that you enjoy to do will help you stick with it. So what is your preferred method of exercise?
Okay. I said earlier that I've worked out probably since I was 17, 18 years old, and have done just about everything there was to do. This for a while would be the thing to do, and this was, and really stuck with just doing manual weights and loved that for years until CrossFit came out. I actually had one of my teams join the Coast Guard, and he lived in Maine, and he came back years ago, and I heard him say something about CrossFit, and So I worked out with him, and it about killed me, because I wasn't used to it, and I just went all out with him. But as I've come back here years later, here doing it with you guys, by far, I love this more than anything I've ever done. I think, and I want to say thank you and I was talking to one of the coaches yesterday about just the family atmosphere that's here, the encouraging, doesn't matter what stage of life you are or athletic ability or what kind of shape you're in. You have people of all ages in one workout doing different aspects and ways, and everybody's encouraging each other and going. And so it's all about, I love the motto. You hear it every time we work out, keep moving. And so that's just kind of become my way of life. And I've just been here just a month, but I've really just bought into that. So by far for me, it's CrossFit.
Oh, that's awesome. And exactly what you said is what drew me to CrossFit myself. I'm internally competitive, but I love fitness, and I want everybody to find something about exercise and fitness that they can enjoy. And that's what we wanted to bring here was fitness, so anybody can do it at any level. And that's what drew me to CrossFit in the beginning. So kind of shifting gears a little bit, I'm going to talk about your leadership and how you've kind of evolved that, because leadership is influence, right? And if you're walking and there's no one behind you following your lead, then you're not really leading, right? So, and the highest level of leadership is when someone has made the decision to willfully follow you out of sheer respect for you. So you've been in ministry for a while now. How have you seen, I guess, and how have you had to evolve your leadership so you can continue to make a positive influence and a positive impact on people's lives to where they want to follow your lead or what you guys are trying to do at your church?
Okay.
How do you evolve that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I even wrote a few notes down kind of thinking about some of these things, but over the years, it's changed. Yeah. And it's changed a lot since I've been in ministry for about 20 years now. And I'm going to tell you, and this one term I'll use, this millennial generation, everything has changed with them. And so your leadership abilities and techniques have to change. Yeah. And a lot of people will go, well, this is how we used to do, so we're just going to keep doing it this way. And that's the beginning of death in leadership or anything that you do. You have to change with how things are going or you get left behind.
Yeah.
And so for me, as I begin to see this generation and the shift that came with it through leadership, and I begin to look at a lot of people in your generation, my generation down are self-motivated. And for whatever reason, as a whole, and I don't want to pull out everyone in the millennial generation because it's not everyone, but as a whole, they're not as self-motivated. And so what I've noticed that it takes is a lot of one-on-one. It takes that time that you spend with them, that you're with them day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out. And you begin to share life with them.
Yeah.
And as you begin to share life and do that with them, that's something that kind of brings them around a little bit more and just being able to pour into them that way.
Yeah, so spending more of that one-on-one mentorship time, I guess, is what they're really seeking. And like you said, if you're not evolving and sticking with that, this is the way we've done it for the same way, you're not really going to reach those people. And in your field, I mean, there's eternal consequences to that. And if you don't evolve, right?
Right. One of the words that we use a lot at our church and in our youth ministries and me with families and couples is the word intentional.
Yeah.
That we have to be intentional with our daily, with our walk with Christ, but also with our walk with other people.
Yeah.
And I love different books and reading, and Andy Stanley. I know you know Andy.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of books out on leadership, and he's got one that talks about define the win. And basically the question is, why do we do what we do?
Yeah.
And, especially in churches, but it's that way in gyms and everywhere else we go in the workforce and all over the places. A lot of people just tend to do something because that's what they've always done.
Yeah.
And at some point you have to reach back and go, okay, well, why are we doing what we're doing? What's the end result of what we're wanting to do? And then once you find that end result, you have to back up and go, is this effectively getting us to that? And if it's not, then it's time to change and do something else.
Man, that's really good right there. Andy Stanley, he's got probably one of my favorite quotes. Now, I'll write a quote down in a minute. And I've got a whole phone full of quotes, but he's got a quote that is my favorite, and I'm going to try to paraphrase it here. But he talks about, leaders from your generation, this current generation, are going to be leaders in every single field, healthcare field,
right.
the political field, the religious field, every single field. And they're out there, but nobody currently knows who they are.
Right.
Why don't you throw your hat into the ring, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what whenever I'm working with, I guess, younger people, I feel bad for saying that, right? But how do you know that you can't be the best pastor in the world? How do you know that you're not the best nurse or contractor or business person in the world? You don't know until you tried to pursue that and really hone in your skills. So
right.
I really like Andy Stanley's stuff. So you talked a little bit about mentorship, right? And to me, mentorship is the next level of leadership where you're taking time and you are intentionally pouring into somebody else and spending time with them and helping them grow and to develop. Right. As Christians, we're called to go and make disciples, right? We know that. But how do you know at what point to continue to pour into somebody and mentor and disciple, and when it's, that they're really not buying in and it's time to spend your time elsewhere? How do you make that decision?
Right. That's the $100 question.
Yeah.
But it's a great question, and I'm not going to apologize for relating everything back to Scripture, but when it comes to leadership, there was never a greater leader than Jesus himself. And so I think we have to go back and look at his life and see what he did and try to imitate that in ours. Ephesians 5, we want to be imitators of God. And so you see that through the Gospels of how he was an effective leader. And I think a lot of times people have a misconception of his life and how he poured in and who he poured into. But as you look at it, we know John 10:10 said, I've come to give you life and to give it more abundantly. So he's here for all. We understand that. And you see that through the parables, through, many times you see he was speaking to great crowds. And so all of these people would follow him. Yeah. And he always was willing to pour into them. But inside of that, you begin to see Scripture talks about all these disciples. Now, we understand that to be the 12 disciples, but there were way more than that. And so you had these great crowds that would be around it, but then inside of that, you begin to have this smaller group that began to really be around him and to follow him and to listen to him. And then you had the 12 disciples. Of course, we understand he called them, and we know that he knew who they were and what they were going to be. But he really poured into those 12. Yeah. And those 12 followed him literally to the ends of the earth. But in that, I'm reminded of Matthew 13. Jesus has this great opportunity to speak to this large crowd. And he goes out and he tells a parable about the sower and the seeds. I know you know that one. Yeah. Well, all he does is tell the parable, and then he leaves. And the disciples go to him, and they're like, Jesus, and I'm paraphrasing. Yeah. It's not from New King James Version. They're like, why did you just tell a parable that they didn't understand and leave? Basically, you had an opportunity to win hundreds to you, but you told them a parable that they're never going to never understand and leave. And he tells them, he says, they have ears, they don't hear, they have eyes, they don't see. And basically it's what he was saying. He said, I could go out there and talk to them all day long, but they're not willing. You don't see that willingness in their life to follow me. He said, you know what? The ones, and I love this about leadership, the ones that want to know will come and find out. He said, guess what? You're here, and you have a desire to hear, so I want to tell you what this parable means. So he looked around and saw those that were pursuing him and pursuing the end goal of what he was. But even inside the disciples, you still had three. You had Peter, James, and John that he poured into even more. And so as we begin to look at that and how he did it, to me, it's, hey, we're willing to pour into anyone. But as we begin to live our life and to move forward in that and pour into all of these different people, inevitably, those that have leadership skills and ability will begin to come out of that. The cream rises to the top. You'll begin to see that. And then I think as we see those that are willing to pursue, that's who we begin to really pour into. And they'll have a desire for it, be like the disciples. They were there wanting to know what that meant when the other ones just went away. So I think that's something that's important.
Man, that's, you know what, that's really good to speak of it from that standpoint, because a lot of times we want it so badly for this person, right? And know that they've got potential to do great things, but at some point they've got to take the step too. And
even we was talking about discipleship earlier. I've had a lot of people that I've tried to pour into and would look at them and go, God, man, if this guy would just get it, it would be awesome. But I'm reminded of Paul talking to Timothy, and he tells Timothy, pour into other faithful men, people that are showing themselves faithful. Why? Because they'll be able to teach others. And so we lead others that are already showing some potential. Why? Because in turn, they will lead others also.
So if we're trying to, if we relate that to our leadership ability within our team at work or whatever, it's really those that are hungry for growth, and you may be telling them something or helping them with something, then they act on that and moving forward from there. Man, I thought that was good. We need to rewind that, and you can play that multiple times because that was good. That was good. You need to be on the stage teaching that somewhere. That was good. So, all right, Brother Tracy, got some rapid fire questions for you here. I thought that was some good information. So these are rapid fire. So just kind of what comes off the top of your head. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
All right. So what is your favorite exercise?
Boy, that's a tough question because there's so many with CrossFit. Honestly, the thing that I'm getting into more than anything, and I think because I'm a very competitive person, is double unders.
Double unders.
Because they're killing me, and I'm having trouble getting them. But I'm loving when I do get in that rhythm of doing them and being able to. So I love double under.
Double under. So for anybody that doesn't know what double under is, it's a jump rope. And instead of the rope passing under your legs once, it passes under your legs twice before you land. And typically when you're learning to do them, you end up with some whelps and red marks all over the place.
All over me.
Yeah. So, and they are very much a challenge to learn. But once you learn them, it's kind of cool.
Right.
A cool party trick almost. So.
Yeah.
What's the most physically challenging thing you've ever done?
Honestly, being 49 years old, trying to get back in shape of when I was 30 years old.
Yeah.
But I have this mindset that I'm going to do it. I'm going to be there. And that's just something I've noticed is I always heard people older than me saying, well, just wait till you get older. And it does. But here's the cool thing is that you don't have to stay there.
There you go.
Keep moving.
Keep moving. That's good. That's really good. So, all right, you said that you're a reader. You quoted some Andy Stanley. What's your favorite book? And then your favorite book of the Bible too.
Okay. Now I'm kind of a Bible nerd, and so been in seminary through. And
that's good for your line of work.
It is. So I love studying Greek, exegeting, and getting into that. So commentary. So some of the things I like to read and get into, most people are not going to. But I'm a family pastor. And so one of my hearts is working with couples, counseling, and different things. And so The Meaning of Marriage, Timothy Keller, Sacred Marriage, Gary Thomas, just two great books dealing with marriage. And it's helped me in my marriage. Anything Francis Chan, Louis Giglio, I just about read everything they've written. So just enjoy that. And one of my favorite books of the Bible is Philippians. I love anything with Paul. But just knowing the story behind Philippians and everything that he does through, I love studying it.
That's good. Yeah. Well, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Anything worth doing is worth doing right.
There you go.
I've heard that. My dad used to tell me that, and I've tried to instill that in my own kids. And so it's, don't halfway do something. If we're going to do it, let's go all out and do it right.
That's good. That's good advice for anybody.
Well, one of my first pastor I ever had, he said something along that line of, there's a right way and a wrong way to do everything. Yeah. You can do the right thing in the wrong way and have a bad result. or you can do the right thing in the right way and have a tremendous result. And so I think those two kind of blending together for me is kind of where I'm at, what I want to see.
Yeah, man, that's good too. So, all right, if I were to grab your phone right now and I'd go scroll over to your iTunes, what would I find? What kind of music would you listen to get pumped up to work out if you're in here by yourself and you had control of the radio?
I'm going to give the Bible answer and say I would listen to Christian music, but if you went over to you're going to find 80s music. That's what I listen to.
Okay.
If you go back in my age, I was a teenager in the 80s, and so that was hair bands and heavy metal. So that's what I listened to.
Anybody specific?
Man, I hate to say this. AC/DC.
It's the funniest thing. I've got a couple other pastor friends. That's who they like. It's an AC/DC. So it just must be the guitar. Right?
It is.
There you go. That's good. Well, what are you learning and what are you reading right now?
Honestly, been preaching through Peter and First Peter, and man, I really just learned a lot as I've studied for sermons. But I think the theme of Peter has helped me more than anything, and basically the theme of First Peter is that obedience flows out of salvation. Yeah. And so for me, it's we grew up with that. I did with hellfire and brimstone, and all it was about was getting saved and going to heaven. But then there's this big gap in between, and what are we supposed to do? And that's discipleship, go live for God. And through salvation, we learn how to love God and all that he's done. And from that, obedience flows not out of obligation, but out of love. And so it's been neat to read and study that and really to be able to preach that over the past few weeks.
That's really good too. So now, can anybody that's listening, some of them may not know who you are or where you're at. If someone wanted to reach out to you and you help couples and all, but tell them a little bit about where you pastor at, and if they needed to reach out to you, and if you didn't mind to share that, how could they reach you?
Okay. I'm a family and missions pastor at Bethel Baptist Church, which is in Dorsey, Fulton area, and I love my church, the fact that they allow me to do whatever I need to do. And so I don't just counsel our members, I counsel visitors, I counsel people that don't have anything to do with our church. And so I'm willing to do that. You can call our church, Bethel Baptist Church in Fulton, Mississippi, and they can get up with me. Anybody here at the gym, I know just about everybody here. And so, or you can call me if it's okay to give my cell phone number. I don't mind that. 662-401-7956. If I don't have your number, I probably won't answer, but if you leave a message, you can text me or whatever, and I'll get back with you. I'll be glad to.
Yeah, man. Well, Tracy, man, I sure appreciate your time, taking the time, man. I learned something. I thought that was great. Again, they may want to rewind that and listen to that a couple of times because you shared some great stuff there. So, but anybody listening, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen. Again, this is Cory Lee with the Leadership and Fitness Podcast, and I hope you guys have a great day, and God bless.